How's it going, my dudes? This is College Agent Keda speaking, and welcome to my next video. In this video, I just want to talk about the things that I want to see removed, and I am neutral towards the Super Mario Maker 2, soon to be released sometime in July. This will only be talking about the things that I would like for there to be. Obviously, maybe not everyone or the majority of anyone out there would agree with me, but these are the things that I would like to see after playing Mario Maker 1 for over 2 years, seeing how people can easily troll or just in general make levels so difficult or simply not fun because of how difficult they are. But either way, let's get started. I'm gonna try and explain as much as I can. Most likely end up failing and most likely end up ranting, but either way, first of all, we're gonna start with things I would like for there to be in the game. So when it comes to Mario Maker 1, a lot of people put Kaizo blocks as a cheap way to kill someone, and I find that extremely annoying. Yes, I will agree that there are great ways to put a Kaizo block into your level that would actually end up making it pretty cool. You know, fun way to die or to figure out how to get around an obstacle. But the great majority, they're usually just placed as dumb troll levels that you would use in order to easily kill someone. Like, for instance, putting a large gap with a hole or no hole and just simply soft locking the player in there. So I would like for there to be a dotted Kaizo block to be shown. Not only will a dotted Kaizo block actually make it better to play the level, but it would actually end up removing a lot of the so-called troll levels, because, or just in general, making hard levels with less Kaizo blocks, because it would sort of make the level look ugly by seeing a bunch of dots everywhere. Even though that might sound like it's a bad idea, to me it would actually be good, because again, it would subtract less Kaizo blocks. It would bring more inventive ways to actually kill or make a level difficult without having to just place the random Kaizo block in the middle of the last jump of the flagpole just to end up killing you after already doing who knows how many tricks to get there. So a dotted Kaizo block might sound like a bad idea, but for me it would actually end up being rather inventive all around, and it's also something I'm not really expecting for there to be in the actual game, but you know, we can only hope, right? There's an enemy that I would actually like for them to add, for Nintendo to add, would be a charging Chuck from the Super Mario World game. The reason why I would like for them to put an actual charging Chuck enemy into the game, either just in the S&W theme or all around every theme out there, even though it might not even though it doesn't exist in both Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Bros. 1, is because you can do so many different things with a charging Chuck. For instance, if you ever seen anyone play a Super Mario World ROM hack, there are so many different ways you can actually use the charging Chuck. As for instance, you can have the Chuck split into 3. You can have a Chuck gate stationary, jumping up and down. You can have the Chuck actually charge towards you. You can have a Chuck throw footballs. You can have him throw baseballs. Like, so many different things that you could actually do with a charging Chuck that it would be an amazing add for Mario Maker 2. Not only that, it also brings me to having the ability to either use certain items in all themes, or know, certain enemies in all themes, because what I loved about Mario Maker 1 is the fact that even though Super Mario Bros. 1 theme doesn't have a Yoshi, they actually ended up putting the shoe from Mario Bros. 3 into Mario Bros. 1, which is pretty amazing because it'll make it seem like as if they had a Yoshi, but not really. So it would be amazing to, again, see either the charging chuck or the transparent pipes be used in all themes, or just in general have an X amount of items that you could use throughout the entire themes of Super Mario Maker 2, and not just have an X amount of special items for each theme. Obviously, to me, it doesn't really matter which of the two they choose, but it would be really awesome to actually be able to use, again, the transparent pipes or enemies throughout the entirety of every theme. Like, for instance, in the trailer, in the very first trailer that they showed, they actually ended up showing for a split second a Fire Bros, which is amazing. So it would be rather weird that they wouldn't allow the Fire Bros to be used throughout all themes and not just after Mario Bros. 3, because in Mario Bros. 3 there is a Fire Bros that exists in the game. It's only one, and you have to break it through with a hammer, but either way, in World 2. But just being able to use, again, charging chuck would be amazing. Just so many inventive ways. Again, even when it comes to trolling ways to kill people would be pretty cool. Moving on, a quick reset. It would be great to just, if they're not going to add a reset from last checkpoint button, to have a quick reset button that would automatically reset you to the last checkpoint you got. An extremely easy way I would assume they could do is by simply holding L, R, A, and B, something crazy like that, or A, L, plus and minus, or, you know, whatever buttons they would want to choose, by simply being able to hold buttons down, and it'll automatically reset to the last checkpoint you were in and give you like a 1 second timer or something crazy. If the placement of the last checkpoint was in a bad section. So again, it would be pretty cool if they just put some form of quick reset to begin with. Or when you click reset, it would always make you start from the last checkpoint. So they could do two different things, either quick reset, or when you press pause and you click a restart, you actually restart from the last checkpoint, and not right now where if you click restart you end up spawning back at the beginning of the game. It's just really dumb, but obviously in Mario Maker 1 they most likely didn't really care. I don't know, it would just be really awesome. It would be really awesome to be able to choose the location of where you want Mario to be in. So for instance, if you want him to be on the left side, which is the normal stance of starting the level, or on the right side, it would be amazing. Like, Nintendo themselves have done, not necessarily games, but like extra games inside of another game, where instead of starting on the left side, you start on the right side and then go from right to left. One thing that you guys could probably argue is the fact that the flagpole is always on the right side, but obviously choosing in which location you want to start, the flagpole would then be on the side that you're not facing. Not only that, but I also want to say that we don't know as of right now, but I want to say they're going to give us more than just a main world and a sub-world. Since if you look at the trailer, you have like a 3 on the bottom right corner somewhere. I want to say that's most likely number of themes, or number of sub-worlds that you have. So maybe they'll give us up to 3 sub-worlds, so it'll be main world plus sub-world 1 and 2. And in doing so, they might give us the ability of choosing where you want the flag to either be, or it'll be located in the last world that you choose. So for instance, if you have a main when it comes to 3 worlds in general, if you choose for 2, it'll be located in the second one versus the main world as they have right now in Mario Maker 1, where if you have a pipe, it'll take you to the sub-world, but you have to go back into the main world in order to actually beat the level. So in this instance, my theory would be, if they give us up to 3 worlds, the location of the flag would be in the very last one that you would have. So if you have 3, it would be located in the 3rd world. So as hard as it would be for me to explain, it would just basically be, if you have world 1, 2, and 3 in your level, the flagpole would be located in level 3 and not necessarily in level 1. That would be cool. Obviously, we don't know that as of yet. They might give us more than one sub-world, but it's still, you would have to appear back in the main world in order to actually beat the level. But again, for me, it would be otherwise. It would be amazing if they just gave us the flagpole as an actual drop item and be like, okay, this is where it's going to be. Most likely that would give us a problem, so I doubt that'll actually happen, but it would be nice if they actually add that in. Not only that, but when it comes to Mario Maker 1 as of right now, when a Yoshi comes out, you see the baby Yoshi and then it immediately grows into, I guess, adult Yoshi. It would be cool if they gave us just baby Yoshi, and in Mario Maker 1, in Super Mario World, and when you have a baby Yoshi, you actually have to feed the baby Yoshi 5 different items or enemies or whatever the Yoshi wants to eat in order to grow into Big Yoshi. So it would be cool if they just gave us the baby Yoshi and give us the ability to feed Yoshi 5 different times in order to get the Big Yoshi. Obviously, when it comes to this, there would be a whole lot of trolling, but just in general, that would be a brand new mechanic that they could easily use in a lot of different themes that doesn't include Mario Bros. 1 and 3. So that would be amazing. Also, they showed us the fact that you can have rising and falling water. So it would be cool if you can also switch the water to lava. So instead of just being water that would rise up and down, it would also be lava that can kill you at any moment. It would be pretty cool as a new mechanic to also add the ability of danger and not just, you know, rising down, up and down water. I'm not sure if this water would be effective like it would be in actual Super Mario World, where if there was a fish in the water and the water lowers, the fish will now be above water, and assuming you have like tiles where the fish would land, it would then become like a flopping fish where it would no longer damage you. I guess that would be the only way where rising and falling water would be new, besides the fact that you have rising and falling water and not just a water level. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to lava, it would be cool if you had the exact same ability of it going up and down. That, I don't think it's too far-fetched, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if they actually don't end up adding that whatsoever, mainly because as DLC or just in general not wanting to deal with it. So when it comes to neutral things that I doubt, that I myself doubt will ever do, but maybe there's a lot of people that could be thinking, would be an overworld. I don't really know how Nintendo would add an overworld. The only way I can see Nintendo adding an overworld would be in 100 Man, where currently you have to be, I believe it's 16 levels for normal and hard mode, and then only 6 levels for super expert. The only way I can see them actually adding a overworld would be a normal and hard. You would have to beat, let's say, 5 levels. So you would go straight 5 levels, and then when you beat the 6th level, it'll actually end up branching out. So it'll be branching out into, 1 to 3 different roads, and then that would also branch out to more levels, and then finally it'll branch out to the final 16th level. This is really the only way I can explain it, and why they would, or how they could use an overworld. So instead of forcing you to play this specific level, you could choose between 3 other levels that you can then beat. And then in general, when it comes to normal and hard, if you need to beat 16 levels, it would give you, let's say, 20 levels total. So you can beat any of the levels that they give you up to 20 total, and not actually having to beat all 20. So in case you found this level hard and not necessarily clicking skip, you could just skip it by moving to a different section of the overworld. Other than that, I can't really think of them and actually adding an overworld for like players, unless if, again, where right now you can have up to 100 levels that you can upload, and you would need, let's say, a total of 10 levels before you can actually make an overworld, in which case you can add and replace levels in your overworld. So whenever someone comes in and wants to play your world of, Mario, I guess you can say, you would pick and choose which levels you would want your specific world to have, and they would have to go in and defeat the 10 or 15 levels that Nintendo would let you add into your world. So I guess that would be 2 specific ways of how I can see how they would end up adding an overworld, but other than that, I can't really see them doing that. Another thing that I personally would like to see, but I seriously doubt they will ever even add, is blacklist themes of levels in 100-man. So for instance, if you don't want New Super Mario Brothers you can just blacklist that entirely, and you would only get the other themes, because as of right now, we see Mario Brothers 1, 3, SMW, new SMBU, and 3D World. So you would be able to blacklist New Super Mario Brothers, and that way when you do 100-man, you would never get those levels. Again, I would like to see that myself, because when it comes to maybe not necessarily themes, but types of levels, so if I were to remove speedrun levels, I just either won't get them or have a very low chance of getting a speedrun level. Because for anyone that's actually watching, my stream whenever I do Mario Maker, I very much dislike both speedrun levels and puzzle levels. I do find them interesting. Puzzle levels come more unique than speedrun levels to me, but just in general, just having to play those themes, those types of levels, I personally just don't enjoy, even though they could be unique. Like, if you could just choose to remove speedrun and puzzle levels that, again, you would have a much lower chance of getting them, or removing them entirely. I doubt they'll actually add those in whatsoever, but that's my input in overworld and blacklisting either themes or types of levels that you can get. Now I'm going to be talking about things I just simply want them to remove. So one thing I just want them to remove is whenever you pause the game, you get this giant UI. So obviously you get the name of the creator that made the level, the title. I can't remember if they give you the code, but either way, on the right side they give you the star system when they used to have it, the comment system, and then the restart, and then quit. So you have this giant UI pop into your face when you pause the screen. I really just want them to remove the UI entirely, so if you press pause, it'll just say pause right in the middle, or you know, everything turns either most likely darker, and so you can actually see the game around you before the game just starts you back to either the checkpoint or the beginning of the level, depending on where you were at. So what I'm trying to get at is, I want them, when you press pause, I want them to remove the entirety of the UI, make it so you can actually see the level in case you want to see what's happening, or also have the ability of the level continuing to move after you're dead. So if you can see like Koopas go up and down, or Boos move into Mario, or the last location of where Mario is at, and not just pause everything and then spawn you back to the beginning of the level. So it would be amazing for them to just simply do that, because there's a lot of times where I'm playing a Kaizo level, for instance, and I'm trying to figure out what I need to do in front of the level, or even what's happening in front of me, and I press pause because that's really the only way I can stop movement before the level actually kicks me back to the beginning. And you just have this fat UI in your face. It's like, if only they just made it where that was removed entirely, and just have a different, like for instance, if you press pause, it's pause, but if you hold pause, the entire UI pops up. It's like, I don't really see how hard that would be, but that's just me. I would love for them to remove the drunk effect. There is just no way when the drunk effect is actually used properly. I'm not really sure how you could use it properly. I can see, I've played levels where they used the drunk effect and I was actually, you know, part of the level, but a huge majority of the time is just using the drunk effect just to make the screen move, and it's like, really? Same thing when it comes to the party lights, where you reach the ending and they just have them there in order to blast in your ear and not be able to see crap. It's like, I don't know. Like, it would just be so much easier if they were to remove that entirely. I seriously doubt they'll actually end up doing it, mainly because that was one of the main focus that they showed when Mario Maker 1 was first being showed off. But even then, when I first saw it, it's like, yeah, this definitely looks like a great idea, but it's just going to have a horrible execution to it. So that's my take on that. One thing I would love for them to remove is either remove or lower down the sound of when the timer hits 100. So basically, whenever your timer hits 100 or it's placed below 100, like what I like to describe is just a trumpet's blasting into your ears, telling you that the timer is below 100, which is fine. Because whenever you're playing a regular level and then you hear that, it's like, okay, I need to, book it and go directly to the end, because otherwise I'm going to die or, get a checkpoint, whatnot. But in a speedrun level, one of the main reasons why I don't like them is because, one, they put them so tight, where you have to beat it within 0.0050th of a second and before you end up dying or whatever. But either way, it's because every time you start, you always hear those trumpets go off. And it's like, either removing it, which they won't do for obvious reasons, or just be able to lower it. Like, I can't really see how hard it would be to just put in the options menu and be like, 100-second timer warning, mute, bam. Now you will never hear it. So whenever the person that's playing a level is playing a 10-second timer, a 10-second speedrun, and they end up dying after 10 seconds not realizing that's what it was, because a large majority of the time, whenever I'm playing a speedrun, it's like, oh, I didn't even know it was a speedrun, because I know maybe I'm playing with the volume turned off, and it's like, oh, I had no clue. And that's going to be your problem. It's really not that big a deal. After you die the first time, you're already going to know it's 10 seconds. So either having an option to remove it or lower down that specific sound would be amazing. I doubt they'll do either of the two, but I can only hope. And one last thing is, I really hope they remove the being able to hide things behind the SNW flagpole theme. So in the SNW, you have two big flagpoles, right? The one on the left side, your Mario is in front of it, and the one on the right side, Mario is behind it. So what people like to do when it comes to troll levels, or even in general, people like to hide things behind that flagpole, so when you're jumping up towards the flagpole, if you're not already hitting a hidden Kaiser block, which could easily be avoided by having a dotted Kaiser block, is hiding cannons or something that shoots right into your face as you're jumping. So just being able to remove that entirely, where you can't hide things and behind the flagpole, would be amazing, just because you'd be able to always see what's there. Not only that, but most likely it'll make people not want to put things at the very end, because now you can't hide it. Obviously, that would most likely won't be such a popular choice with anyone out there. Who really knows? I'm sure you guys will let me know, but I'm not a fan of it. I can see how funny it would be if the level wasn't hard or, you know, extremely difficult or extremely confusing or whatnot, you know, to the point where you have to do the entire level or the entire giant sections that are just stupid difficult or confusing depending on what level you're playing, and then all of a sudden having a giant chain chomp shoot into your face because you had no idea that was even there or even why it would be there. Like, obviously, if you want to say something crazy like, oh, but this is a troll level, so the giant chain chomp behind the flagpole is going to be funny because it's a troll level. And it's like, yes, but what if you're just playing a stupid hard Kaizo level and then all of a sudden the same bullcrap happens because they feel like that's the last laugh they're going to get? It's like, really? Did you really need to do that? Just remove that entirely, bam. All problems are fixed, but, you know, that's just my take on that. I would like to see what you guys like to say, but moving on, things just in general that I've been talking about since Mario Maker 2 didn't even exist would be adding more mini-bosses. Obviously, in the trailer, they showed a Boom Boom, which means he is some sort of either enemy or boss, most likely boss. So being able to add more mini-bosses, such as the Koopa Kids, Nintendo literally has 8 other kids that they can replace besides Bowser Jr. So why not be able to replace more than just Bowser Jr. by adding some of the Koopa Kids and having their abilities show up? Like, obviously Wendy has her rings, and Larry, if that's his name, has the ball, and, you know, stuff like that, where the Koopa Kids themselves have their ability from Mario Bros. 3 and just take that over to every single game, because why wouldn't they be able to show up in every single game? That would be amazing. Not only would it make it not be boring to constantly see Bowser Jr. and Bowser as a boss fight, but being able to see all the different kids use their abilities in, you know, whatever room they end up, the people end up replacing them into, so it actually fits them. Obviously, when it comes to any of these things, there'll most likely always be some sort of troll that someone will end up using, which is obviously 100% fine. No one can really stop that from happening, but just being able to use 8 different abilities to have, you know, more choices just in general would be pretty freaking cool. Obviously, now we have Boom Boom. Who knows if we have... I don't know what the female version of the Boom Boom is, but maybe if they also have the female version, like, that would be 10 plus Bowser Jr. plus Bowser. Not only that, but again, having the ability to maybe add more mini bosses. Like for instance, right now you can either have 3 Bowser Juniors or 3 Bowsers, or 2 in 1 or whatever. Maybe having the ability to up that, but have the Koopa Kids count as either 1 or a half of 1. So for instance, if you can only add 3 Bowsers as of right now, you'd be able to add 3 Koopa Kids and a Bowser, something like that. I don't know. Who knows? Having just the ability to add more mini bosses would be pretty cool. It would be a lot more trolly, but at least it would be a lot more fun to just see Bowser Jr. and Bowser. So, who knows? I mean, they can maybe add that someday. I doubt they'll have that in the launch, but I mean, they could, right? Currently, we don't, quote unquote, don't know if they have vertical levels. I want to say they do, but let's just hypothetically say we don't know yet. So if there are vertical levels, it would be amazing if you can start with a vertical level, and then when you go into a subworld 2, that would be horizontal, and then when you go to subworld 3, it would go back to vertical. So it would be pretty cool if you can have a vertical level go into a horizontal, or a horizontal into a vertical. Kind of like what they have right now, where they have a normal level go into an auto-scroller. That would be amazing. Not only that, but again, when it comes to being able to choose where you want Mario to be, so if it's a vertical level, you would be able to either start all the way at the top or all the way at the bottom and then go up, or from the top you would go down and then hop into a horizontal level that would be on the right side instead of the left. And then it would be cool to just to have the X amount of different choices where you would want Mario to be located. Obviously, when it comes to that, you could already choose to make your level and have the door or the pipe appear on the opposite side. But again, just in general, having the ability to choose where you want Mario to be would be cool. Probably something not myself would want, but just in general, what people would want to want in general would be to whenever they're making a level, to be able to play test their level before it's actually released into 100-man. So let's say you're making a level and you're like, okay, I want someone to test it before I make it be public in Mario Maker servers. Like as of right now, they have either test or version or unfinished in their title, so everyone knows that the level has either been changed or not complete yet. So it would be nice to have, I don't know if it would be a specific code for playtesting, most likely, but just being able to download their level before they actually have it, beaten for 100-man would be pretty cool. Obviously, I don't personally make levels, just because I don't really know how. Not only that, but it's also time consuming, and I'm not very good at it for obvious reasons, because I just don't want to spend time. But again, just in general, for people out there to be able to play test the level before it's actually released. I myself have play tested levels, and it's just, just put a door here and make it go to the end, and boom, I can play test the level because you've already uploaded the level. It's just a matter of me actually, playing however way I want it. Would be pretty awesome. And last, but most likely not least, what I've been mentioning since before Mario Maker 2 was even announced is to be able to play more than just Mario. So, for instance, in the cover and even in the first trailer, they showed Mario placing down Cat Luigi into the level. That could easily just be part of, something when it comes to playtesting, maybe. But when I talk about that in general, it would be either playing as Mario or Luigi in the level that the person has decided to create. In the cover itself, they ended up showing a blue and a yellow Toad, so you can obviously be either Mario, Luigi, Blue Toad, or Yellow Toad. And I myself wouldn't really care if all different versions of Mario that you could play as would play the same as Mario. So for instance, they all jump as high, they all jump as low, they all do the exact same things. Same thing when it comes to being Super. So Super Mario, Super Luigi, Super Toad, they would have the exact same height to them. So if you're Super Toad, you wouldn't be able to go underneath a 1 block radius by just walking straight. Like, you would need to duck. So even though Mario and Luigi would be bigger or, you know, taller than Toads, you would still have to react the exact same way. So I think it would be amazing if you had more the ability to choose different characters to play in the level besides just Mario. But again, these are all different things that I wish they had, wish they add, remove, or just in general neutral about the things that I would like to see in Mario Maker 2. I am extremely hyped for it. I'm definitely planning to play it as much as I possibly can when the game is released. But what do you guys think about my choices? Obviously, most likely ended up missing some things. I was trying to think real hard, but not excessively to the point where it'd be like, let's say, adding Bullet Teds into Mario Maker 2, which would also be cool, because Bullet Teds, for anyone that doesn't know, yeah, they come from Super Mario World in a special exit, going from World 3 to World 4, and there is only one level where they're located, where they come out from a pipe and they can either shoot right or left, and if you happen to damage that Bullet Ted, instead of the bullet just dying, they would actually float upwards and then go down and still have a hitbox. So it would be interesting to have those in there, but kind of doubt that they would add them, you know, things like that. But again, these are my things that I think about what I hope that Mario Maker 2 has. Obviously, just in general, we don't know anything else besides the one trailer that we got. In my prediction, it would be we're going to get a Mario Maker Nintendo Direct specifically. Most likely only one. Wouldn't be surprised if there would be two, or not necessarily two just for Mario Maker 2, but just in general talking about Mario Maker 2. So I'm predicting at least one main Nintendo Direct for Mario Maker 2 about a month to a month and a half before the game is actually released, which will most likely end up showing us the release date of Mario Maker 2. I also want to say it'll just in general be released halfway into July, like not at the end, not in the beginning, but in the middle, for anyone that maybe wants more explanation of what it is I'm talking about. But you know, at least one main Nintendo Direct and release in the middle of July would be pretty awesome. Don't have much more to say, so if I missed anything, let me know. I would definitely love to discuss it whenever I play Mario Maker, or just in general whenever I'm streaming. I always love to I always love to talk about Mario Maker 2, so if you have any more things to say to me when it comes to either live or just in general, make sure to show up in my Twitch page, twitch.tv/KoaLegionKedu. I always link those in the description below. Hope to see you next time. I'm always also releasing videos of Mario Maker 1 levels that I either enjoyed or thought were unique in general. obviously when it comes to mechanics, difficulty, maybe even length, I don't know, but check all or any of the Mario Maker 1 videos that I'm constantly releasing, at least 2 a day. I'm going to continue to do that with Mario Maker 2. Obviously, at first, there's going to be a crap ton of levels that I'm going to think that are pretty amazing, but, hope to see you on the next one, and take care.